What do you have for us on the Mets this
Ooh.
morning and where they could look to trade to acquire assets to help them compete with teams like the Dodgers, Yankees, Padres, etc.?
Well, I combined on this notes column with Will Salmon, who covers the Mets for The Athletic, and he contributed that note. And it's basically about how the Mets pitching, prospect-wise, is so strong right now that they can move guys who are not among their top 5 pitching prospects, and they'll still have value. They still may be able to get the Mets players that they want. They did this last year in trades for Jesse Winker and a later trade for Jose Siri, a couple different things that they did. So that is where the Mets stand, and it's a great place to be in from an organizational standpoint because you have the ability to improve yourself without giving up your top young talent. And that, according to what Will contributed to this column, is where they are right now.
And they have other guys coming back, but they've hit this little lull in their season. I'm not saying this is who the Mets are, but how do they get out of this lull in the sense that Canning's not doing as well? McGill's now on the IL, and I'm forgetting someone else's.
Senger's on the
yeah.
IL. Yeah.
Yes, on the deal. And Frankie Montas is supposed to come back in just time, but he's not throwing very well. How do they make it through this transition?
Well, there are a couple of ways to do it, right, Eric? You know how this is from being a player. You can either hit your way out of it, which the Mets are certainly capable of doing, and Soto's been hot, Alonso's been hot in June as well, Lindor not as much, or you can start pitching better. And I expect both things will happen, quite honestly. All teams hit a lull. The Yankees just hit theirs, and maybe it's still a situation where they're in a lull, but the season is so long that even the best teams have these things happen. Now, I'm not saying the Yankees and the Mets are the best teams in baseball, but what team is going to go through 162 and not have a scenario where they're not playing on all cylinders, not firing on all cylinders? That's where the Mets are right now. It's a big series this weekend in Philadelphia. I'm here right now. We've got the game on Fox tomorrow. And that's going to be somewhat telling. The Phillies are now in a tie with the Mets for first place. And I know it's only late June, but the Mets want to get going again, I'm quite sure. And the Phillies want to establish themselves as the principal threat in that division, if not the front runner.
Now let's switch gears to the Yankees too. I mean, we saw what happened. I was in the booth there talking. Didn't ever see that one coming, to be honest with you. The scoreless innings, 30 scoreless innings. What have you seen or heard about that whole situation with Darren? I mean, we were there talking. They had a little meeting. It wasn't a players' meeting. Came back strong the last game. But what were you hearing about that whole situation with the Yankees going through this whole slide thing per se?
They just stopped hitting. That was one thing. 7 runs in 7 games. Obviously, when you're the team that leads the American League in runs scored, that is quite an unusual situation. What bothered me a little bit about what the Yankees were going through there is that they were making some of the same mistakes we saw them make last year. Guys getting picked off, guys making errors, things along those lines where they looked a little sloppy. They had improved upon that quite a bit in the early going of the season. I don't believe that it's necessarily who they are, though it is who they were last year, and we all saw it. So they too kind of are just coming out of it in their minds, hopefully now, because they had that win over the Angels last night. I'll tell you a funny story, Todd. I have a story written about Aaron Judge and some of the things he's done differently this year, and I was supposed to run it last Monday in The Athletic, but then they got swept by the Red Sox. He started sliding. Well, I still haven't published it because I need him to get going here a little bit. Obviously, if I publish a story now, Yankee fans are going to say, hey, what are you doing? They stink. So that story's coming eventually.
That was your Jersey roots right there. That was pretty good.
That was a great impression.
Did you move back or something?
No, I didn't move back. Hey, Todd, one thing. I was talking to a writer who was in the clubhouse last night. He said he overheard you talking to Mark Leiter Jr., and he thought he was walking into the middle of an episode of Jersey Shore.
Hey, that's funny. That's funny. I think I know who you're talking about, too. Me and him are going to have a little chat. Either way. Now, let's go back. Yankees, they struggled. They're not struggle bus. They kind of kicked through. The Angels' bullpen has been absolutely phenomenal. Where they talked about the first half of the year to now, 2.79 ERA through from May 18th through now, Wednesday. they just got these guys that are just coming in. Hunter Strickland, 14.2 scoreless innings. Reed Detmers, 13 straight scoreless outings. These got guys that are just doing it, and it just seemed like they were so overpowering.
Wait, what? Before you jump into this, Ken, I just want to see if I can get Todd to pronounce one other guy who's really been racking it up, and because you probably skipped him, and I bet you can see him on Ken's article. Ryan
Zephyrshan.
Oh,
Yes.
nice. Wait, did you say his name?
No,
I didn't say it.
Okay,
He practiced it.
I just
for
wanted
3
to
days.
make sure.
Hey,
Yeah.
you have to. Ken knows, and you know. It's like when you get it, you're like Zephyrshan. You got to keep saying it in your head. So,
That's
yeah.
smooth. Well, he just called the series, Ken, so I just wanted to pop quiz him.
As for the Angels, they're really an interesting team to me. I don't know that any of us think of them as a contender, but they have some good things happening. And the bullpen, as you just pointed out, Todd, is one of them. They were the worst bullpen in baseball through May 18th. Since then, they've been one of the best. And the guys you mentioned, I'm not going to try to pronounce their names, they all have made significant contributions. And going forward with them, again, I'm not saying they're great, but up the middle, Ohapi, Neto, and they've got Shanyo at first base. They've got Joe Adell coming on now. They have some good things happening, and I don't see them being a contender anytime soon because I don't know that Artie Moreno is an owner who has a coherent enough plan to make them a contender, but they've been quite an interesting club. And if handled properly, and they have the number 2 pick in the draft coming up, if they kind of keep going along these lines, they can be in a couple of years pretty good. Now we'll see if it happens.
Is there any, I mean, obviously we're coming up to the trade talks and we're always hitting on trade stuff. Are there any pieces that the Angels, because the Angels just historically do not get rid of anything with value for some reason, I think it's Artie Moreno's fault. Do they change that course because now they have Logan Ohapi young, Neto young, Shanawell is doing really well young, Adele has the most home runs in the month of June in baseball. Do they have any pieces that they could trade to then add to all of these young guys that are kind of slowly hitting their stride?
They do. I don't know that they want to give them up. They've worked hard to kind of get their farm system in a better place. It's still not one of the best farm systems, but we've seen them act rashly at the deadline just 2 years ago. Remember what they did? They added Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez and a few others, and then, of course, when it turns out they weren't going to contend, they dumped them all before the August 31st deadline for setting postseason rosters. So could they improve by making trades, Eric? Yes, they could. Should they at this point? Probably not. It's not where they are as a franchise. I don't know that this team should be going all out simply to make the playoffs, but there are signs of hope there. Now, the problem again is the direction of the team and where they're going with it, and that's the question that we'll always have.
This one's easy for us to talk about. I'm a huge fan of Hungry Root. They're delivering groceries that we want and groceries that we didn't know we want, but we want.
Oh yeah, they every box that I get from Hungry Root has a new snack in it that I'm like, oh, this looks interesting, and then I try it, and I'm like, oh, I might need some more of those. So they're great at not only getting the groceries you want, but they surprise you with tasty little treats that you didn't know you needed.
Agreed. Turkey jerky. There was like a chocolate pudding thing where I'm like, I'm not a big chocolate pudding fan, then I have it, and I'm like, this is awesome. So they can cater to your needs. You got gluten-free, or you're looking for a certain diet that you want to fulfill, or there are certain items that you love. They learn along with you. You let them know your preferences. They just nail it. Take advantage of the exclusive FT offer, please. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/FT. Use code FT. That's hungryroot.com/FT, code FT, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
All right, let's shift over to the White Sox and what they have available. Is this the first time we've ever heard that the White Sox are going to actually try to move somebody and not just let them get DFA'd and then go have success somewhere else?
Well, they've moved some players before, and certainly Crochet in the offseason, and they've done some other things as well. But what we wrote about today is the idea that with Benintendi and Luis Robert Jr., they'd be willing to pick up money as well as obviously make the trade and go about the normal transaction course. So that would enhance their value of Robert and Benintendi. It would at least make them palatable maybe to teams, because if the White Sox are paying part of the freight, It helps them because maybe they can get better talent back, and of course, it helps the acquiring team that doesn't have to pay the full price. It's interesting. Benintendi, when I looked yesterday before I wrote this, was basically a league average player this year. He hit the grand slam last night. He's 14% above league average in OPS. Plus, looks a little bit better. He doesn't really play defense much or play it well anymore. Robert is a different kind of player. He's not hitting, but he's stealing bases. He's playing defense. I don't know that either of them carries much value, but sure, the White Sox are going to be open-minded when it comes to trading them, and they may be in position to trade two of their veteran starting pitchers, guys that they've recently acquired, Adrian Hauser and Aaron Savali.
Late last night, past Eric's bedtime, but for me, we saw a little scuffle, little hoo-ha go on last night between the Padres and Dodgers. It's been a lot of balls being thrown at guys, whether it's on purpose or not. We don't know. Schilt came in, fired up. Dave Roberts was fired up. What do you say about this? Is the rivalry kind of renewed a little bit? Is it like, all right, can't wait to see these guys play next? Guys could have gotten hurt, and it's a different kind of ball game, as we all know.
There's no question the rivalry is hot right now. No question. Maybe the hottest rivalry in baseball. And we saw the passions flow the entire series, and that's the way it's been. These teams have met quite a few times in the playoffs in recent years. There is bad blood between them. As for last night with the Tatis incident, that's 3 times in the last 10 days that he has been hit by the Dodgers. Now, I know it was Jack Little. He's making his major league debut. Do I think he did it on purpose? No, I don't. However, if you're the Padres and you're sitting there and your guy gets hit again, you're right to be upset. Now, what Schilt did and Dave Roberts and that whole thing, I don't know exactly what's going on between them. Schilt can be irritating to opponents, I'm sure, and maybe he came out a little bit too strongly there. But at the same time, if I'm him, I'm ticked off that this is happening. So when they play again, yes, I'm sure that there will be eager anticipation, and there should be. These are 2 really good teams, and they're 2 teams that have had this rivalry develop over the last several years with great players on both sides, and that's part of what is fueling this. So, yeah, I anticipate that it's going to continue. It should continue because they're both really good. I actually wrote about the Padres a little bit today relative to the deadline because they're in a tough spot, in my opinion. They don't know what's going on with King. He's out until at least the All-Star break with a pinched nerve in his shoulder. Yu Darvish has yet to pitch this season. They are getting by with lower-priced, lesser-name starters right now. They've got a hole in left field. They could use better production out of catcher. There are a number of things with this team you can look at and say, I wish it was a little bit better. And yet, they're still holding one of the wild card spots. They're still in a really good position. And it's going to be fascinating, as it always is at the deadline, to see what their general manager, A.J. Preller, does, because this is a little bit of a different challenge for him. His farm system is not what it once was. He has multiple things to patch, and he also faces the possibility of losing both Dylan Cease and Michael King to free agency at the end of the season.
And you also wrote the similarities between the Padres and another team in their division who's only 3 games back behind them, the Diamondbacks. So what are some of those similarities that you're seeing? They're both in kind of a weird position.
The similarities go back to the injuries. And with the Padres, Musgrove, we know, is out for the year, and then you have King and Darvish as well. With the Diamondbacks, Jordan Montgomery out for the year. Corbin Burns out for the year. Their closer, Justin Martinez, out for the year. All elbows. And Gabriel Moreno, their catcher, just went on the injured list as well. Both teams also have aces, potential free agent aces, Cease for the Padres and Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks, who have not performed the way you would hope in a walk year or in any year for that matter. So from those perspectives, those angles, they're both in really interesting positions. And the other commonality is that they both are run by general managers who do not want to concede. AJ Preller, he's always in buy mode. And Mike Hazen was rather vocal on MLB Network Radio last week. He's the Diamondbacks general manager, about how his intention is to buy unless, of course, things fall apart. And he wants to make his team better, even with all the injuries, with all that has gone wrong. They believe in their club, and they've got a top 5 offense, so why not? It's just going to be challenging for both of them to maybe get where they want to be.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.